certain wavelengths of light, you're going to be absorbing more browns
Yes.
versus reds. Sometimes it's more reds than browns.
Yeah.
And so when you have a choice of lasers, that's where you now start to differentiate why you chose that laser over that laser, because I'm treating this specific condition on that aspect of it. So it gets more complicated than it is. We're trying to help you understand the basics, which is really choosing your targets is going to be based off of that light absorption. The whole goal is I want to pour enough energy into that target that it only hits that target and doesn't cause collateral damage. So wavelengths, they determine the color of light, and you can see from 380 to 440 is the violets, and your blues are 440 to 485, all the way to your reds, which is 625 all the way to 740s. Okay, and so this will determine depth of penetration. Okay, as far as how the energy scatters. So the longer wavelengths of light have less scatter and therefore can penetrate deeper. The different elements in the skin do absorb different wavelengths of light, and that's just the way that they attract it. And when we go into the wavelengths chart, that's really going to explain this even better right here, right? So if you're looking at it, melanin being the brown, that straight line across, hemoglobin you can see has this really unique curvature. And then water is starting from past the 800s and beyond. And so these are the three chromophores that we talked about, right? And so if you're looking at it, melanin and hemoglobin probably are the ones that are going to cause you the most distress. They're the ones that are going to cause you the most potential burns.
Yeah.
Water, literally you vaporize it, poof, it's gone. You really can't do too much except for over-treat a patient and you get the hypopigmentation, the plasticized look type of a thing. But you really, I mean, the danger part of water is really just pouring too much energy, and you literally are just like carving out parts of the skin with it. You're literally just cutting the skin with the water portion of it. The melanin and the hemoglobin, this is where you start to get into the little sticky situation with regards to how it absorbs. And if you look at the strength of absorption, which is on the y-axis, it goes from 110 to 100. Sorry, little mistake on the graphic, but hemoglobin, as you can see, in the 532 range, that's a great one because melanin doesn't necessarily reach there. You're really going to focus just on hemoglobin, but you will catch some melanin as you're doing that. That, because it's above 100%, has high affinity. So a little flash of this 532 and all those melanin hemoglobin cells, me, and they're grabbing onto that and pulling it in. So when you're treating with a 532 for these, you're going to see you're going to need to use way less energy because this will absorb all of the heat or the light that's being pushed out there. Versus if you're in the 694 range, you can see melanin is still high. So if you have a brown, that's a great area to be treating in that range. Hemoglobin is on the low end, so you don't need to worry as much because the absorption value of hemoglobin is going to be a lot lower versus that of melanin. Melanin is going to, if the light source is coming in, melanin is going to go me first and be selfish and grab all that light for itself because its strength of absorption is over 100. Versus the hemoglobin, because it's less than 10, is going to be like, okay, it's that little child that waits around and watches everybody grab all the Easter eggs.
True.
They don't get anything.
That's good. That's good.
So, this is why understanding this chart is so important. It helps you delineate what wavelength of light that you want to focus on because you have determinants of what you're trying to achieve with your end goal of your laser.
Yeah. So that being said, I want you to think of this clinically. Say, okay, I have a patient who has some telangiectasias, but they've got a lot of sun damage and they're a Fitzpatrick 3-4. So what can I use? Well, I don't want to hit their melanin as hard, but I don't want to hit the reds, but maybe my goal is not to hit the reds. So I might pick something in the 600s. So it's going to hit the browns and to get the pigmentation off or sun damage off, but it's not necessarily going to hit the reds. So you have to figure out what you want to hit what your target's going to be and adjust that wavelength accordingly. So you can pick up on the reds, you can pick up on the browns. There are some wavelengths, like in the high 500s, you can hit both really well. So it depends on your patient and what you want to hit on your patient as to what wavelength you choose to use.